Alrighty, hey guys, it is Michael from StevensvilleGamers and welcome to another deck profile video. This time I'm going to be doing my spellcaster deck once again. This time it has definitely changed. There's now pendulums in it. I'm going to go from left to right, starting with the extra deck. So the top guy here is Star Eater, 11 star. A light attribute, 3200 attack, 2800 defense. He is even though he's an 11 star, I get him out fairly frequently. There is his effect, essentially he can't be affected by cards when he attacks, and also when he is synchro summoned. So he is super duper helpful, and that's actually the highest star, and now we're going to start at the lowest star again. Well, now we're going to start at the lowest star. So I have Armory Arm, a level. He's the only really real level 4 that I figured was willing to use. Monster equipped with him can gain 1000 attack, and he's a union. The reason why I did that, you'll see later, but I can get the level 4 out, the level 4 synchros out fairly easily. And I, just did that because he was working. YuGiOh Guardian is a level 6, 2800 attack. If you don't know who he is, you should probably get acclimated to him because he's very good. I can grab a monster that he destroys by battle. Super helpful. So here's a new synchro. Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. He is a level 7 with 2500 attack, which is fairly decent. Pretty good. Also, if I need to, this is very situational, but I can target something in the Pendulum zone and special summon it, and monsters cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. So he negates a lot of effects in the battle phase, which is awesome. Also, if I need to, when he's summoned, I can retrieve a special summon a Pendulum from my Pendulum zone. Currently, the mat I'm using doesn't have Pendulum zones, but still. Next one is Clearwing Synchro Dragon. It is kind of like Crystal Wing Synchron Dragon, except for he is for targeting level 5s and higher, so you pretty much can't destroy or target or do anything with singular level 5s or higher. 2500 attack. He's a 7 star. Another 7 star because I can get 7 stars absolutely easy. And I figured he's, out of the collection that I have, he's one of the best level 7s that I can have. That is very generic for the deck, so that's why I put him in. I use him a lot actually, and he's just cool. Level 8s I don't usually get out, but when I do get it out, I do have a Red Dragon Archfiend. I mean, everyone should know who Red Dragon Archfiend is, but there's a quick glance at him. So now to one of the main guys here is my Arcanite Magician. Arcanite Magician I have 2 of, as you can see in this deck. Essentially, I can remove spell counters from cards on the field or himself to destroy cards, and he gains 1000 attack for each, and you'll see why he's so good in this deck in a second. He keeps his 2400 attack when I play him, which is awesome. Also level 7, getting up the level 7s with ease. So, those guys are super awesome. Again, situational cards. Black Rose Dragon, everyone should really know who she is. Unfortunately, she's a common, the one that I have. I really would like a rare one. Or not a rare one, but like some sort of rarity, either an ultra or a super. I'm not too sure. But, again, situational. If I need to blow up the field, I can bring out level 7s galore. So, if I need to blow up the field, I have her. Tempest Magician, a very handy card in this deck as well because of the ability of her removing spell counters on the field. Come on, focus, you got this. There we go. So because of her ability to remove spell counters on the field and deal damage, she's almost an essential. I have won multiple duels with her. Level 6, so I can get her out. I've gotten her out on multiple occasions. Level 6 is not as much as my level 7s, but I've won duels with her by removing just immense amounts of spell counters from the field and just absolutely blowing up opponent's life points. So the last one is another level 8 Enlightenment Pound, level dark. I'm not too sure if he's really new, but I really like his effect. He's not as powerful as Red Dragon Archfiend with only 2500 attack, but if I use a Pendulum Spellcaster or a Magician Pendulum monster as a material, I can target one spell in my graveyard and add it to my hand. And if I use the effect, I can only use his effect once per turn. And when this card destroys a monster by battle, it can inflict damage to the opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack, which is super awesome. 2500 attack and run over a lot of things. You know, just traditional early, not necessarily early game, but just anything lower than 2500 attack points is going to get run over with a Lightning Paladin, and you're going to take damage, which is totally not bad. So we are into the Xyz now. I do not have any fusions. Those were the synchros. So here is Big Eye, number 11, Big Eye. He's a level 7 spellcaster. Again, with the level 7 themes. This time because I have multiple level 7 monsters. If you don't know what Big Eye does, you probably should read this real quick and figure it out, because he's super good, and I can grab opponents' monsters, which is awesome. Next one is, I'm probably not going to pronounce it right, but Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. Also love his artwork. He looks super cool. But he requires 2 level 4 monsters, which is very easy for this deck again. 2000 attack, which is totally beast. But I don't even really need that 2000 attack points, because as soon as he hits the field, I'm going to remove both of his overlay units to send one monster back to the deck. Lots and lots of things that I am dueling nowadays with friends like Ryan and April and mostly Aiden cannot be destroyed by battle or by anything else. So I'm like, alright, great, let me just go ahead and pen and normal summon and do all my stuff, get my 2 level 4s out, sit it out, or Castel out of the field, Castel, remove 2 spell counters, and return that big old monster, Aiden Beals, to the hand, or to the deck, which goes to the extra deck. So he is one of my favorite cards in this extra deck, because he's super helpful. Another one that is super helpful is Black Ship of Corn. If you don't know what he does, you probably should get acclimated. I can remove a overlay unit, destroy a face-up monster with attack equal or less than his, so anything under 2100 attack points is going to get blown up, and you take 1,000 life points for it. So number 50, Black Ship of Corn. Not too shabby. Alright, so that was the extra deck. The next set of cards I want to go through is the trap cards. The first trap card, this deck only has 5 trap cards in it. The first one is a compulsory evacuation device. Return a card on the field to the opponent's hand. Super helpful, because again, lots of things cannot be destroyed by battle. Just return to the hand with compulsory. Next one is a Blazing Mirror Force. Essentially, whenever an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy as many attack position monsters my opponent controls, and if you do, take damage equal to half the combined attack of all the destroyed monsters. Then my opponent takes the same damage that I just took. So that can be a real break or make duel card. So if it's face down and somebody attacks with a super big attack, like super big force attack, you flip Blazing Mirror Force, destroy a bunch of their monsters, take some life points because of the attack, and then make them take as much as you took. So it's either leveling the playing field, you're either keeping the advantage, or you're keeping the same distance, but you're damaging your opponent nonetheless, and I really like Blazing Mirror Force. Next one is Magician's Defense, a continuous trap card. Very nice artwork. And while I control a spellcaster type monster, any damage that I would take is halved, but I cannot have the same damage this way. So pretty much I can't have 2 Magician Defenses on the field and say like, this Magician's Defense halves it, and then this Magician's Defense, it doesn't work like that. But also when it is destroyed, I can special summon a spellcaster type monster from the graveyard, right? Yes, from the graveyard. So I know there's a lot of other cards that are probably way better than a Magician's Defense. I can throw in a Drowning Mirror Force, I can throw in a Bottomless Trap Hole, but I personally just like the Magician's Defense. Having battle damage that you take is not half bad, and then when it's destroyed I get one of my spellcasters back. I'm honestly totally okay with that. So the last two are the same card. They are both Black Horn of Heavens. This Black Horn of Heaven is a, whatever that is, counter trap. Pretty much negate, whenever your opponent would special summon a monster, negate that special summon and destroy it. Y'all want to special summon every single monster, every single time. You know what? What is it? Black Horn of Heaven. Screw you. You don't get your monster that you would have special summoned. And you know what? I don't like any of the monsters that you would have special summoned, and I hate them. Moving on to the spells. Sorry, Ted. Moving on to the spells. Stupid special summoning monsters. First one I'm going to go through is Burial from a Different Dimension, because lots of people, David Lum, who likes to freaking banish everything with cards, and everybody likes to banish stuff. So I would like to have 3 of my monsters back to the graveyard, just so I can grab them. So different dimensional, Burial from a Different Dimension. If you don't have a lot of people that you're dueling that's banishing cards, then replace it with something else that you feel necessary, but I definitely feel like my situation needs a Burial from a Different Dimension. Next one I'm going to use is Pendulum Call. Pendulum Call, I have to discard a card and then add 2 Magician Pendulums with different names from my deck to my hand. And until the end of my opponent's next turn, I get Magician cards in the Pendulum Zones cannot be destroyed by card effects, and I can only activate 1 Pendulum Call per turn, but I can only activate this essentially during my main phase 1 and the first card I use. So, and a lot of times, and everyone gets really annoyed with me because I usually open with Pendulum Calls, so that's like the first thing I do, so I can grab my Pendulums. So, very good in this deck, and you'll see why in a second. Japanese Dark Hole, destroy all monsters on the field. Everyone knows what it does, so I have a Japanese version of it because I like it. Next one is Magical Citadel of Endymion. This is why some cards in there are very good, like the Apprentice Magician, my apologies, Arcanite Magician, and Tempest Magician. Because Magical Citadel of Endymion collects spell counters whenever spell cards are activated, and whenever spell cards are activated, this card gets a spell counter, and I can remove a spell counter from this card to make sure it's not destroyed, so it stays on the field for a very long time. And also, if cards have a spell counter on it, and it says that I can remove a spell counter from that card, aka Arcanite Magician. Arcanite Magician can just remove tons and tons of cards or counters from Magical Citadel of Endymion instead of himself, so he keeps his 2 counters, keeping his 2,500 attack points, and I can destroy more than 2 things with Magical Citadel of Endymion, which is super awesome combo. Also, with Tempest Magician, this card can collect I've had it collect almost 20 spell counters at a time. If you do the math, 20 times 5, that's a lot of life points. Or 20 times 500, which is a lot of life points. So Magical Citadel, and also I can retrieve my Endymion the Masked Magician from my graveyard graveyard or hand, and special summon him. And when I do, I get a spell card back from my graveyard. So Citadel of Endymion is super important in this deck, almost one of the most important cards, which is why I have 2 of him, or this place, in the deck. So the next one is Raigeki, because why not? Like, Raigeki, destroy all of my opponent's monsters. Screw you. You don't get monsters. It's like a Dark Hole, except for only for your field. Yeah. Screw yourself. Next one is Pot of Dichotomy. So if you're not familiar with this one, there it is. At the start of my main phase 1, I can target 3 monsters with different names, different types in my graveyard, and shuffle all 3 of those into the deck, then draw 2 cards. But I can't activate the battle phase turn that I use this card. I will go through my monsters in just a second, and you will see why this card is absolutely amazing for this deck and against. And so I pretty much get 3 cards back to the deck and then draw 2. Draw power, getting stuff back from graveyard to deck. It's all good, and I can use it easily. So yeah. The next 2, very good, very straightforward. Pot of Duality, 2 Pot of Duality. Let me choose what I want from my top of my deck, please, every day, all day. Pot of Duality. I mean, if you don't know why it's good, you should probably get acclimated with the game and the card because it's amazing. There's the effect. If you don't know what it is, pause the video there. Okay, next one is Spell Power Grasp. Spell Power Grasp has search power. It allows me to put spell counters on things. It's a spell card anyway, so I'm going to put spell counters on stuff that I don't even need necessarily will be putting spell counters on because it is a spell card. It's just great. Love it. Spell Power Grasp. Also, it allows me to give cards that require spell counters but don't necessarily collect them. Like, I can have an Exemplar on the field, a Citadel on the field, and a Breaker on the field. I activate my Spell Power Grasp and give Breaker another counter to blow up another face down. Because it's a spell, Citadel and Exemplar get spell counters as well. And it thins out the deck a little bit, so it's just great all around. I love it. And I only run 2 because I took out the 3rd Spell Power Grasp for Pendulum Call, which is one of the super important cards in the deck. Next one is Gold Sarcophagus. Again, fairly straightforward. Gold Sarcophagus is a very good card, allowing me to get a card that I want in 2 turns. Most likely, it's an extremely situational card. Most of the time, I'm just going to go for a staple or something that I really need at the time for me to be able to set up for something. But a lot of the times, you just grab Raigeki. I just grab Magical Citadel of any mind if I don't have it yet. I grab, I don't know, a Black Horn of Heaven or something. Just something that or Pod Duality, something that I really need, something that's a staple. So, Gold Sarcophagus for sure is a good card to run in almost any deck, really. Now, this card, a lot of people are going to be like, wait, Monster Reincarnation? Monster Reincarnation allows me to discard a card that I really do not need at the time, and I can add a monster card to my hand. Necessarily not all monster cards in my graveyard, cough cough, pendulums, I want back to my field. So I can retrieve pendulums from the graveyard and reactivate them as pendulum pendulum spells. The things in the corners that or the sides that allow you to pendulum summon as pendulum spells. That's what it's called. So Monster Reincarnation allows me to get stuff back to hand instead of just getting it to my field. So that's why I run that. And the last 2 spells are Mystical Space Typhoons because Mystical Space Typhoon. It's good. Blow up some spells and traps. Yes, please. Oh wait, it's a spell card. Everything on my field gets a spell counter because I activated something that destroys your cards. It's great. I love it. And that's the spells. Next one I'm going to go through is my effect monsters, not the pendulum monsters. They're a whole separate category, but just effect monsters. So, Blackluster Soldier. Boom. Oh, it's gory. Japanese. I know what it does. Broken Luster Soldier is what I know it's by. He is a warrior, so there's one type for Pot of Dichotomy. But amazing, look at it. This is one of the ones that we pulled from the Japanese box openings. It just looks amazing, so I run it in the deck because it's also an amazing card. Next is my 2 Andy Mayon, the Master Magicians. I mean, Citadel's in here. He's one of the main cards to get out in the normal deck. Discard spell cards, blow up monsters, blow up spells and traps. When he's special summoned using the effect of Citadel, I can grab all the cards. 2700 attack. This is the main monster in the regular deck because a lot of this deck runs around the extra deck. But Broken Lot BLS and Andy Mayon two of the big cards in the normal deck. So that's Endymion. Also my favorite spellcaster. So next one I've already talked about a little bit. Breaker the Magical Warrior. He gets a counter. He destroys spells and traps. He's a level 4. He's a spellcaster. He gains 300 attack whenever he has spell counters. He can be a 1900 like hitter, or he could be a destroy your spells and traps. A lovely card as a spellcaster deck. Next to is Ice Hand. Whenever Ice Hand is destroyed by an opponent's card effect or by battle, I can destroy one spell or trap card on the field, and then I can special summon a Fire Hand from my deck. Which brings me to my next two, which is the Fire Hands. Whenever Fire Hand is destroyed by battle or by opponent card effect, he destroys a monster on the field, and then he brings out an Ice Hand. I have 2 of each, so I can go through this cycle a little bit. They're also level 4. Also, they are Aqua, and they are Pyro. So Aqua, Pyro, Warrior, and Spellcaster all right here for Pot of Dichotomy. That is 3 types easily. There's dragons, there's machines, there's other things in the extra deck as well. So that is like dragons, machines, that's 6 types right there, all in this deck that I can get back with Pot of Dichotomy, so the whole type things is not a worry, which is what I wanted to point out as well. Ice Hand, Fire Hand, destroy spells and traps, destroy your opponent's monsters. I get a monster back onto the field after you get rid of it. I mean, there's nothing bad about this card, to be totally honest. I mean, I can't use it for synchros. I can use it for synchros, and I can use it for XZs to try to get out of the stalling situation that I'm obviously using them for. But I mean, sometimes I just let all 4 go to the graveyard. Let my opponent take the hit of 2 spell traps and 2 monsters. I mean, very good cards. I love them. Next one is a Junk Synchron. Again, you're probably like, what? Why a Junk Synchron? Junk Synchron is a very good level 3 tuner. And that can bring monsters back from the grave, which is also why I have the machine Armory Arm in this deck, is because when I summon him, I can bring back the next card, which is Faith Magician, or Magician of Faith. Flip effect, I can get a spell back from the grave. Enough said. I get my spells back. Flip effect. Boom. I can also bring her back with Junk Synchron. I can then tune with these guys to create Armory Arm. I can also tune with them, and then another level 4 monster to create a level 8. There's just there's so many different levels in this deck as well that I can just make all kinds of all kinds of other levels when synchroing. So just different cards create different combinations of levels and just stuff. So level 3 tuner. Big reason why he's in here. I can bring back level 2 or level 1s. I can bring back even Knights and Sorcerer as well. Knights and Sorcerer is a level 2 tuner spellcaster type monster. And when he is special summoned, I can remove 2 cards of my opponent's graveyard from play. That is super helpful. I would love to remove cards from your graveyard because, you know what, that is super cool. Sorry for the random break. Anyway, I was talking about Knights and Sorcerer. Level 2 tuner. Again, tuners, synchros is a very, very big theme in this deck, obviously. And, yeah, I can also bring back him with Junk Synchron, which is special summoning him, which then gets him his effect. So, yeah, they're really good together as a team. Situational, if I want to bring out Armory Arm, Junk Synchron, and the Faith Magicians. Another very good combo there. So, there's 3 cards right there that are very good. And the last 2 of the they're effect monsters. So the next 2 of the effect monsters and the last 2 of the effect monsters is Magical Exemplar. Magical Exemplar. Again, level 4 spellcaster. And I can special summon monsters from spellcaster type monsters from my graveyard equal to the number of spell counters she has. She gets 2 spell counters whenever a spell card is activated. So that's helpful. I can special summon stuff with ease back from the grave, whoop-de-doo, 1700 attack, very solid attack points. She stays on the field for a little while. She collects spell counters. She special summons. It's great. So that is the effect monsters. Let's move on to the pendulums. Alright, here's the last section of this video about the cards. Dragon Pit Magician, level 7, water type Pendulum. So he would go, I usually use him in the Pendulum Zone. When he is in the Pendulum Zone, he is a Pendulum scale of 8, which is, he is my highest that I use. He always goes into the Pendulum Zone pretty much. And when he is in the Pendulum Zone, wait, come on, there we go. If I have another magician in the other Pendulum side, I can discard a Pendulum monster and destroy, or then target a spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. He blows up spells and traps. I use 2 of him so that I can use him in the Pendulum Zone. The next one is Dragon Pulse Magician, level 4, 1. So now I have a range between 1 and 8, which is literally every single card except for BLS in the deck. Almost dropped the camera. And yeah, you know, that's pretty good, because BLS can't even really be special summoned using Pendulum, so I can special summon essentially anything in the deck that I want, which is great. He has the same kind of effect in the Pendulum Zone as Dragon Pit, but Dragon Pulse destroys monsters, not spells and traps, but it still requires me to discard a Pendulum monster, Pendulum monster. But these guys are normal monsters, so they have no normal effects. 1800 attack, solid. He's a defender. 2700 defense, solid. 7/4 if I want them. I can also use them as synchros. For synchro material and Xyz material, 7 and 4s again. Those guys are very important to the deck. They essentially are my pendulum. They're the people who I use to pendulum all the time. Next one is Skullcrab Joker's level 4 Dark, and another level 4, but I normally summon him. 1800 attack, very good to add my Magician Pendulums, or my Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon to my hand. So he's a searcher, which is really good. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, I guess, is the logical thing to go next. Oh my god, this rarity though, I love it. I love this rarity so much, it looks awesome. But anyway, 2500 attack points, super cool. And when he's in the Pendulum Zone, pretty much as soon as he gets into the Pendulum Zone, the end of that turn, I'm going to destroy him. So then I can add another Pendulum to my hand, and he goes into the Pendulum place, so then I can pen him back at a later date. He's a level 7. Again, 7's awesome. 2500 attack. Any battle damage that he inflicts is doubled. It's just, oh, I love him so much. He's great. And he's a dragon, which also helps with the Pot of Dichotomy, so I can get him back into the deck if I really wanted to. He's just all around super fun, super great to use. I actually really like him in the deck right now. Destroy him, I pen him back, get myself more pendulums. It's just great. So the next one is another searcher like Skullcrab Joker, but differently. It is Wisdom Eye Magician. Again, I love the artwork on him or her, not too sure. I think it's a him. But if you have a Magician or Performer Power card in my other Pendulum Zone, I can destroy him and replace him. I can destroy him and then replace it with another Magician Pendulum, except for himself. So I pretty much get him to my hand with Pendulum Call, put him in the Pendulum Zone, destroy him, search out either Dragon Pulse or Dragon Pit Magician, put him on the other side, whichever side it was. I automatically have something in the Pendulum Zone, just Pendulum Summon back. I then also now still have the full Pendulum Zones. It's great. And also he's a level 4, so essentially he's what I'm synchroing first with. Wisdom Eye Magician, very good in this deck. So the last one I have is Noble Dragon Magician. She's got a mouthful of an effect, and that's what I use her for the tuner. She cannot be synchro material except for dragon type synchro monsters. And if this card is synchro material, unless all of the synchro material type monsters are odd eyes monsters. Place this card at the bottom of the deck. If this card is in your hand or the graveyard, I can target one level 7 dragon or one level 7 or higher odd eyes monster in my control and reduce its level by 3. And if I do, special summon this card. So essentially, every time she uses a synchro, she's going to go to the bottom of the deck, which I'm totally fine with, so I can recycle her, essentially. Also, I can special summon her either by pendulum summoning or by reducing my Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon's level by 3, which also helps with different levels with synchroing. She is super helpful in the deck. She is awesome in the deck. She is my main tuner all day, every day. But yeah, another combo right there. And just all around good tuner. I don't really care about her attack and defense because as soon as she's on the field, she's bringing out a synchro. So yeah. So that was my my Spellcaster Pendulum deck as of the end of August 2016. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a like and comment what you think about the deck. Constructive criticism is not frowned upon at all, but don't just be like the deck sucks. You know, give me some feedback if you want. You know, other than that, again, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe for more content with Skits Gaming. I'm sure you're here because of the YuGiOh stuff if you're watching this video. So there's going to be, if you want more deck profiling stuff too, leave a comment. I know Ryan would love to do deck profiling videos and put those up maybe. I'll ask him about it if he wants to do that, if you guys want to see more deck profiles. Yeah, Michael from StevensvilleGamers is going to be signing off. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Ugh.
Wait, what?
Stack!
Wait.
Shut up! Stack my deck!
You stack?
Stack my deck right! Come on!
It really gave me a scare. Yeah, are you not crushed?
I